Hello class, we are going to be working on Tuesday's lesson tonight. Have it ready for you before you come to class tomorrow, and there are a couple questions that I'm going to have you fill out prior to coming to class, and that will be your bill work. We are going to be discussing in-text citations since we are starting to work on an essay, and you will have an assigned essay that will be your summative assessment at the end of this unit. So, what are in-text citations? Well, it's a process or a way of working with your paper to give credit to a person or a person's work that you are using inside of your essay to substantiate what you are talking about. Why would you use them? In-text citations are used to help avoid plagiarism. Give credit to the person whose idea or statement you are summarizing or paraphrasing or directly quoting. And in addition to that, it gives yourself credibility to let you know that what you're talking about is right, or what you're claiming to be right is in actuality backed up by somebody else's opinion or statement. When must you provide a source? Well, when an author to a specific work must receive acknowledgement of his or her work if you are using any of the following. If you're using a direct quote, a statistic and an idea, someone else's opinion, concrete facts not considered common knowledge, information not commonly known, or information taken from the computer such as CD-ROMs or the internet, which is quite often in today's society, as well as illustrations such as photographs or charts, or even comic strips that are not yours, that's when you must provide a source. What are the requirements? Because there is a specific way in MLA format that must be completed for you to have an in-text citation considered correct. First of all, you must have enough information for the reader or the audience to locate the source on the works cited page based on the information that you've given. We will go into this in greater detail in a few days with the works cited page, but as of right now, the in-text citation will direct the reader to the works cited page, and from there, if they wanted to make sure that what you're saying is right, they would pull up that information to see if that quote is exactly as you state it or are summarizing. Now you need to remember that it needs to include enough information so that the audience knows where to find the borrowed material in the source that you have used. Sometimes you're going to come across some articles or websites where there is not an author listed. And so how do we do this? Well, there are a couple ways that this can be done. First of all, you need to give the first distinctive word of the title followed by the page number if that is available. You can do that directly in the in-text citation, or you can actually announce the distinctive word of the title and then provide the page number at the end if that's what you choose to do. So here are two examples. This example right here, in Manti High School Handbook, it mentions that students can fail a class if found plagiarizing their work. The title is mentioned right here, and then this is the page number. Or if it's not mentioned at the first when you talk about it, for example with number 2, if you don't want to risk the possibility of failing your English class, make sure you do not plagiarize. And this lets the reader know that this is found in the Manti High School Handbook on page 55. Now, there are also times when there will be more than one author. And there's a specific way that you need to make sure that you do this, okay? Let's pretend that me and Mrs. Baja wrote a book and you are quoting us. Remember, Hatch and Baja are the two authors, and this would be the correct way to cite it, and you would write the page number. Now, as noted in the PowerPoint a couple slides above, you need to realize, and let me go back up there. Please note that when you do this, you've got to make sure that you have the author's last name and the page number. Here's an example of how it would look, and recognize that there is no P for page number and there is no comma after the author's last name. So please be aware of that. It is just the author's last name and the number. Now back to two authors. Hatch and Baja, again we have 35 for the page number. Notice again there is not a comma, there's not a P, it's just the author's last names and the page number. If you had 3 or more authors, this is how you would do it. You would list the first author's last name plus the ETAL and the page number. This tells you that there is more than one author. Now, when it comes time to researching information and when we get on to websites such as Pioneer Library, some of those articles or some of the websites that you will use may not have a page number. And so what you will just include is the author's last name, and that is it. If there is not an author's name, then you would need to add the website, but we will go into that in more detail on a different lesson. But you do need to realize that you add title only if it is short. If it is a long title, you only use the first one or two words. You don't want to have to insert a title in this little section here in the in-text citation that is a whole sentence long. So you just do maybe the first one or two words. Now we're going to try a couple little exercises here, just 2 questions to see if you understand this. Let's pretend that I had just made a direct quote in a paper that I was writing from a book that was found on page 21. Which would be the correct way to cite the quote? Would it be letter A, Hatch, 21, Hatch, P21, Hatch, page 21, or Hatch 21? If you can't remember, I want you to go back and review the PowerPoint. In addition, I want you to make sure that you watch the video put out by Schmoop that is also attached to our class website for this specific assignment, and make sure that you are understanding that. If not, please write down your questions because we will just have class question and discussion before we actually start into our assignment on Tuesday. Here's the second practice. Now this one is an example of with 2 authors. Which of the following would be the correct way to cite a quote from a book that was paraphrased with 2 authors that started on page 80 and ended on 82? Would it be Hatch and Vaha, 80-82, or Hatch and Vaha, 82-82, Hatch and Vaha, 80-82, or Hatch and Vaha, 80-82? Again, from what you've seen with this PowerPoint, go ahead and write your answer down. Remember to bring that to class with you tomorrow, as that will be your bell work and you'll receive credit for that. Again, if you need to review, please do so, and don't forget to write your questions down if you are finished. Thanks, and have a nice night.